I went ahead and marked our cracks here with a silver marker so they're easier to see, and I need to get this grinder in there and grind them out so we can bevel the edges to make a proper repair. First, we'll dig out these points where the cracks themselves appeared. Then it's time to bevel out around them. This doesn't have to be as deep. The idea is for the bevel to act as a transition from the part we dug out earlier. Then we'll transition it even further by sanding the area around the repair.
Detroit Muscle presents Back to Basics, tips for the beginner gearhead.
Well, now's the time we can start talking about what kind of filler we're going to be using. And you may be wondering because this is a fiberglass panel. It really depends on the situation. If the panel's completely broken or it's got big holes in it, you really want to grab some fiberglass cloth and resin and fill it in with that first. But in our case, we can just go with a filler, but not all fillers are created equally, like these fiberglass reinforced fillers here. First is the long strand, which, as the name implies, has longer strands of fiberglass built in, which is for more serious repairs. And the short strand, even though you can't see them, there's shorter strands of fiberglass in there, and that can get into those nooks and crannies that may be a little more difficult with that long strand. Now, you'll want to use these in an area that's going to be under stress, say like a seam or a joint. But if you're just going to be reshaping a panel, then you may want to look at this. Here we have standard plastic body fillers. The first kind is your standard filler that you've seen us use on metal repairs in the past. And then you can step to the glaze, which is actually thinner and more pliable. It'll give you a thinner coat. But for our repair on our hood scoop today, we're just going to use regular old filler. Always remember that you want to knead the filler to mix in the hardener, never stir it. Stirring will put air bubbles in the material, and the next thing you know, you've got pock marks showing up in your repair. With some of it forced down into the ground out parts, we'll let it cure for a few minutes, then sand down that layer. We've still got a bit of a low spot, so we'll mix up a teeny bit of glaze to smooth it out. Well, there you have it. All we really need to do is a little bit more sanding on this and we can prime it and paint it. And it's really not that different from doing a normal steel repair, but you do have to take extra care. Otherwise, those things will pop up on you.
Hey y'all, for the next few, we're going to be answering some of y'all's emails. And I'm sure the problem that we're going to be tackling, some of y'all have either caused or had happen to you whenever you pulled out an engine, and that is broken exhaust studs. Doyle writes, "Hey Detroit Muscle Dudes, I'm working on a 64 Corvette that my uncle gave me when he kicked the bucket. And when I took the exhaust off, two of the exhaust studs broke that hold it to the pipe. How do I fix them?" Doyle. Now normally we put headers on just about everything, but if you're going for that OG feel like he is, well, you're going to have to deal with a set of exhaust manifolds. Now